There's another.
Kathy.
Happy.
I guess it's evening for you guys, right? Good evening.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Where are you, Morgan?
I'm in Iowa, so I'm still afternoon right now.
Yeah.
Mhm. Carol Lacey's coming in.
She's logging in from California.
So in California, it's like 3 o'clock over there, no? Or 2.
I'm gonna let Rachel in. Oh, no, wait, I can't do that because if I do anything on my screen, it's gonna switch mine. It's gonna switch my screen, so I can't touch it until I'm
Hi,
ready.
everyone. All right, Patty, I'm gonna leave it to you whenever you want to get started, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself.
I want to wait like 1 more minute, Morgan, if that's okay. Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Yep.
We could all take a nap while we wait.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is a sleep workshop, so I'm gonna go to sleep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we should all just put our PJs on, get our, and then just sleep.
Just a couple of more seconds. We'll start. All right, I'll start now. Yeah, everybody? Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Explain Sleep workshop, our Survivor Slimdown second workshop of the year. If you missed the first one, it was about oral health, and you could find it at Survivor YouTube channel. It lives there, so make sure you look for it because it has a lot of information regarding oral health. So today we're going to be targeting the Explain Sleep workshop. Let me introduce myself. My name is Patty Murillo Casa. I'm a retired New York City police officer, a 16-year cervical cancer survivor, and a survivor ambassador. I am also Survivor Wellness and Fitness Advisor, and I lead Survivor Slimdown. I also co-lead Survivor Espanol. A little bit about my credentials. I have been in the fitness and wellness space over a decade now. I hold many specialty certifications, including the Cancer Exercise Specialist from the Cancer Exercise Training Institute, and I am also a Senior Fitness Specialist from the American Council on Exercise. I would like to introduce you to our special guest, Sandra Andujar. Sandra is over a 14 years, has over 14 years in the fitness and wellness industry. She's a certified wellness advisor and a fitness and sleep coach. Her journey began as a Zumba instructor, but now she holds certifications in various fitness modalities, meditation, and personal training. Sandra is also a certified Reiki practitioner and currently pursuing her yoga teacher training. Sandra's teaching blends enthusiasm with expertise, creating a supportive environment for participants to achieve their goals. Full disclosure here, Sandra and I were each other's clients for our last assessment to receive our Master Wellness certification. So I know her very well, and she knows me well too. We were both each other's clients. So I want to thank you, Sandra, for giving us your time and sharing your expertise with all of us. So take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here. You said everything about me pretty much, so I'll keep it just straight to the point. I want to know where's everyone signing on from. I would like to know that if you guys want to share that with us. I am originally from the Dominican Republic. I am currently in Port St. Lucie, Florida, on the East Coast, nice and warm. So enjoying that. Joyce is here. Let me let Joyce in. I see some mouth movings, but you guys are all muted. So if you raise your hand and just give us a little background of where you're coming from, And how are you sleeping? I would like to know that. Just very briefly. We have Marcella there. I think she's fussing with her computer. I don't know if she can hear us.
Oh, I
or
can hear
trying
you.
to-
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Marcella, tell me, where are you joining us from today?
I'm in the Bronx, New York, and
New
I'm
York. I'm a New Yorker.
a New Yorker. Yay!
Go Yankees, yes.
I'm retired now from the New York City Public School. I was a principal secretary for 35 years, and I have 3 children, 2 grandchildren, and I am in Patty's exercise strength training class, which has really turned my life around for the better, getting stronger and looking forward to aging well. So
Awesome.
I'm happy
Thank
to
you,
be here.
Marcella. Thank you, Marcella. Anybody else? Joyce, Rachel? Who else is with us today? Gilma, Kathy, Carol.
Cool.
Okay, well, we'll keep everyone anonymous. We're just happy you are here. And let's get down to business. Today we will talk about sleep. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I got into this topic that fascinates me. It all started as well, as Patty said, I am a fitness instructor and life coach. And we were doing at the studio where I work 12-week challenge. I believe it was 12-week challenge or 5 weeks. I don't remember right now. That was several years ago. And every time we do a challenge, we do meetings where we would address different topics. One of the topics was the importance of resting and recovery, which was assigned to me because I do have a meditation certification. So they consider it was only natural for me to handle that topic, that recovery. Well, getting ready for that, and it was a short, we would meet for 20, 30 minutes, check everyone in, talk a little bit about whatever the topic was. Getting ready for that first encounter I had with sleep, and doing my research, I absolutely fell in love with the topic and everything that happens when we're sleeping. That, married to my husband having very weird sleep schedule, difficulty to sleep, which concerned me, I started trying to find out and getting deeper into the subject. And about 6 years later, here I am, each day loving it more and more and helping people organize, let's say, and improve their sleep hygiene. So with that said, the first thing I want to say is that as we get older, we tend to sleep more lightly, and we also have shorter, we don't reach the deep sleep, and we have shorter periods of sleep, which is very important to keep that in mind, because a lot of time we think, well, I'm not sleeping well. Well, we've got to figure out how we are waking up, because we might not necessarily be sleeping the same length of time that we used to when we were younger. And that happens as we age, which is something called phase advancement. Has to do with our circadian rhythm and all that. And you'll probably find yourself or your parents or any elderly friends having their dinner at 4 o'clock. And it's because of something natural that happens with our body that's called phase advancement. And we have to also watch that, because then we go to sleep earlier, but we're waking up earlier. So, but we'll get into that a little deeper. I want to talk about the cycles of sleep. So let me just change and I think there's a message in the chat if someone wants to read it. But let's talk about what goes on in the middle of the night. The sleep cycle. There are 4 stages to the sleep cycle. 3 are non-rapid eye movement, or N1, 2, and 3, and 1 is rapid eye movement, or REM. The first stage, that's when we start to fall asleep and we drift in and out of sleep, and eye movement and muscle activity slow down. This stage is going to last about 10 minutes. From there, we transition, and I have a little circle went on to stage 2, which is where our heart rate, our breathing, and our brain waves starts to slow down. Our eyes stop moving completely, and our body temperature drops. The body temperature drops in order for us to conserve energy and to reallocate the resources, because there's a lot of things that that go on while we're sleeping. This stage lasts about 25 minutes, 10 to 25 minutes. After that, we go into stage 3, which is the deep sleep. And this is where all the magic happens. Stage 3 are delta waves, which are slow brain waves. They start gradually taking over. Our muscles relax, our immune system repair itself, and our brain begins a filtering process. So all the information that we have absorbed throughout the day gets sorted out, pretty much like a filing cabinet for use later. And whatever's not important, we get rid of it. In this stage, our brain also releases human growth hormone. Okay, and this is going to help us repair the entire stress and all the muscles from the whole day. It's especially important for those of you that work out a lot. What else happens? Let's see. We're going to go from this stage usually lasts about a good from 25 to 40 minutes. From this stage, we go into REM, which is the last stage, stage 4, rapid eye movement. So let me move there we go. So in rapid eye movement stage, which is stage 4, this is the stage where our eye movements speed up. Our brain waves are actually exactly like when we're awake. They're similar to those when we're awake. And everything else starts just start waking up. Also in this stage is when we dream, vivid, very lucid dreams, very vivid dreams. Our body, our muscles become temporarily paralyzed, which absolutely fascinates me, because our body is so smart. We're just made perfectly. If you haven't noticed that, hey, I guarantee your body is we're just made amazingly. The reason why our muscles, our body are immobilized in this stage is because I did mention that this is the stage where we do have very vivid dreams. Well, the reason why our body stops moving, is immobilized, is so the dreamer does not act out their dreams. And to me, that's such a tiny little fact, but it fascinates me, because what that means is if you're having very lucid dreams, vivid dreams, you're dreaming that you're running or that you're fighting, well, you don't want to act those dreams out. You don't want to punch your bed partner or really, get out of bed. And that does happen sometimes, but I don't know if you ever dreamt and that you're either running or you're in trouble and you want to scream and you want to run and you can't. And then you wake up all mortified because you're like, I wanted to move and I couldn't scream. And that's why that's happening, because first of all, we realize that we're dreaming because our brain waves, like I said, are similar to when we're awake. So we realize and we want to do things, but we can't. Sometimes also there's something called sleep paralysis, but that's something we got to pay attention to. If we wake up and we cannot move, you've got to start paying attention to, if it happened once or twice, it's okay. But if it happens often, where you're like, okay, I wake up and I really can't move. It's not that you're like you can't move, but you feel very weak, let's say, then it's something to look into. Another thing that happens in this stage is our long-term memory forms. Everything goes from the short-term memory, all the information that we filed in the previous stage, that we sorted everything out. This is pretty much like our brain does like a substructure. And this is where everything gets moved from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. Our first cycle, the first time we go around from non-rapid eye movement 1, 2, 3 and REM, it lasts about 90 minutes. Subsequent cycles lasts about an hour, 40 minutes to 2 hours. Every time we go around that entire cycle, the deep sleep is going to decrease and your REM is going to increase and you're finally going to wake up. We need to go through these cycles 4 to 5 times every night in order to really get all the benefits from sleeping. Now, I want to circle back to this real quick over something that happens here. We go through it several times a night, and this is how it happens. Our temperature starts to drops, and it's going to stop at some time because otherwise we'll die of hypothermia, and then it starts to increase again. And it usually happens in the middle of the night. Usually happens at 3 a.m. in the morning. Have you guys been there? You guys wake up at 3 a.m. usually at the same time? It's biology. It's biology. I know it said it's the which hour or this hour or whatever. I know a lot of people just start doing rituals at that time to pray and all that, which is absolutely fantastic because, you know, then at 3 a.m. in the morning, a lot of people are connected praying or sending good energy or whatnot. But keep in mind that that's why it's happening. You might not remember. Everybody wakes up. Everybody wakes up at some point, but you might not notice it unless you're wearing, sometimes people wear a watch to monitor their sleep. You might see and be like, I was up in the middle of the night. I don't even remember. Well, that's why that's happening. But what happens if you do wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, you realize it, and you don't go back to sleep right away? What should you do? Well, I have put up the slide of things that you should not look. And I'm sure you were, while I was yapping away, you were probably reading on what not to do and have questions, why not? Let's go over the first one. I think looking at the time, the reason why I say you should not look at the time is because the moment you look at your clock or pick up the phone, which is, we're going to touch that later, and you see that it's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., you right away do your mathematical calculations of how much longer you have to sleep. And then you'll start like, I have to wake up at 6 or whatever time. And then you start looking at that clock and you think you've been sleeping for a while and you just look at it every 10, 15 minutes. So you are getting stressed. And the least that we want is for you to be stressed when you're trying to rest. So that's one of the things why I suggest you should not look at the time. Also, going to the bathroom. Please avoid getting up to go to the bathroom, turning on lights, or like, again, looking at the phone. Even if you need water, don't get up to go get water. Before you go to bed, bring your water, leave it by your nightstand, and stay, in case you get very thirsty, then you take a sip of water. That way you don't have to get up. Why? Because when you go from a lying position to a sitting position to a standing position, your heart rate elevates. We need our heart rate to be below 68 BPM in order for us to really, did I say BPM? Beat per minute? Yeah, beat per minute. I'm thinking music, heart rate. In order for us to get into that stage of unconsciousness. So when we're getting up and walking, we're going to elevate the heart rate, and we really don't want that. And we also want our temperature to stay low. And again, we get up, we disturb we turn on a light, we disturb our melatonin production. So it's going to right away set you back. So avoid getting up. If you must get up, then keep a soft light, like little night light throughout the house. Sometimes there are lights that are sensors, that have sensors. So if you get up, it'll turn on, keep those. I have there that you should do a 4-7-8. 4-7-8 is an exercise for you to relax. It consists of breathing in, inhaling for a count of 4, holding for a count of 7, and releasing for a count of 8. So let's try that together. We're going to inhale, and we'll just relax. You may close your eyes, keep them open, and I'll count. Inhale 4, 3, 2, hold 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, release, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, inhale, 4, 3, 2, hold, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, release. Do it again. Just inhale nice and natural for 4. Hold. Release. Beautiful. What that does is immediately brings down your heart rate. I don't know if you did it with me, but if you did, you should have felt right away your heart rate. And that's something you can do not just in the middle of the night. If you ever feel so stressed and you feel that your heart's racing, you're like, I need to calm down, go to your breathing. 4, 7, 8. Inhale 4, hold 7, release 8, and your heart rate will start coming down right away. And that will put you into something called non-sleep rest, which is if you are awake, you're doing your breathing, then just stay relaxed. Hands on your chest, hands on your belly, hands on your side, sideways, whichever way feels more comfortable, and just stay very, very calm. Try not to think of anything. Don't let your mind wander. Just inhale, you breathe in, and that will also that relaxation that you're going to feel is also going to be giving you some form of rejuvenation. So you might not be getting the full benefits of being asleep, but 1 hour of just staying still, very calm, will equal about 20 minutes of sleep. So try to do that. And a lot of coaches differ on this. Some say you should stay in bed, others say you should get up. So I believe you should stay trying to fall asleep a little, a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. But more than that, I believe you should get up, because to me, your bed should not be for turning and tossing and wondering what's going on with whatever situation you have going on. Your bed should be for resting and for cuddling with your partner, doing nice, fun stuff, nothing else. So I do suggest in that case, if you cannot go back to sleep within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 35, then get up and find a comfortable place at home. We should all have, and this doesn't have to be a big room. We can have just a chair. We should all have a little area in our home where it's our personal retreat, that we feel comfortable, that we go and read a book, journaling, if you like journaling. Now, with journaling, the thing I do suggest is don't do journaling about something tragic or something that gets you so upset, something that's happening in your life and you're completely sad about, because that's, or I had an argument with my sister or my daughter, or this and that. Don't do that at that moment unless you really need to get some of it out, because again, your emotions are going to get in the way of your resting, because you are going to get all hyped up, cortisol level are going to rise, and you're not going to be able to relax. You have to, if you're going to leave your room, you get a nice book, you do something relaxing, something fun. I don't suggest being on your phones, and we'll go into that a little more. Any questions so far? Let me unmute you, Marcella.
Go ahead, Marcella.
Hold on.
You muted.
Yeah, I'm asking her to unmute. So you should have had a little thing popped up.
Here we
There
go.
you go. Wonderful.
Here we go. So I was wondering, well, first of all, everything is really interesting. I love all this stuff. It's fascinating. But I was thinking about, I fall into all these categories sometimes. Sometimes I knock out when I fall asleep. Sometimes takes a long time and I'll pop a melatonin. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But
It depends. It depends, and we are going to talk a little bit about that. But the thing with melatonin is that a lot of people misuse it because, first of all, you got to see if you need it. So let me just address it real quick. You have to ask yourself, why am I taking the melatonin? Or no, you have to ask yourself, why am I not being able to fall asleep today? What's going on? Identify what's keeping you up. And because the thing with melatonin, we got to be careful. Is melatonin can interfere with other medication. So we want to keep that in mind, okay? The timing of the melatonin that you take, it should be about 90 minutes before going to sleep. It is a sleep precursor. It's not going to sustain. It's going to help you relax and fall asleep. But you always, every time you take any supplements, you still do want to check with your physician, especially if you're taking other medication that it might interfere, because it does interfere with high blood pressure medication, diabetes medication, birth control, and other. I mean, obviously, if you're taking it like on a regular basis. Also, one of the things with supplements, not just melatonin, is that they're not really controlled. So you want to make sure you know what you're getting, because if you read the ingredients and you have a lot of things that you don't even know how to pronounce, you want to be careful about that. There's one, and I want to say it is herbatoning or something like that. That is pretty clean, and that my husband uses it. So it's not that I'm saying that I'm against it. It's that we just have to be smart about how to use it. And like I said, what I suggest is to first, let's sit down, figure out, why are you staying up? What's happening? Did you have a lot of caffeine? But we won't go too deep into that because we're going to address that a little later.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome question.
Before you go to the next one, you say try not to go to the bathroom. Well, sometimes you can't help that, like.
Obviously, yeah. If you can't help it, lady, you go, because we don't want any accidents, okay? But what I'm saying is a lot of times, and I should have.
I just wanted to make sure that you are able to go to the bathroom. It's not like you can.
Yes. And thank you for bringing that to my attention, because yes, I usually make a notation. It's not that you can't get up and go. I mean, you're not like locked into bed. You got to get up and go, because I don't want you peeing on your bed. But we often simply get up because we wake up, we're like, oh, let me just go to the bathroom just in case. So before you do that, analyze your body and go to the bathroom, go pee before going to sleep. And also be mindful of how much water if you get up a lot in the middle of the night to go pee, be mindful of your water intake, which is so tricky because we need hydration. And in order to sleep, we need to hydrate. But we have to be able to learn how to do that throughout the day and stop our water intake a couple of hours, an hour at least before bed. I mean, a little sip is okay, but don't jug your water right before, or any liquid, because it's going to make you want to go to the bathroom. Make sure you empty your bladder as much as you can before bed. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, first ask yourself, do I really need to go? But if that's going to keep you up because you really need to go, you go. And then you come back and do all your relax and all that. So let's look at things that happen when we don't get enough sleep, because just one day of not getting enough sleep can lead you to all these things. It can affect your mood and memory by irritability, being distracted, forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, all those things that we have on the screen. Performance, a lack of overall energy, fatigue, poor decision making. Remember, if we're not ourselves, if we are tired, and not only that, if our hormones are out of whack because we're not getting enough sleep, it's going to affect our alertness, and how we make decisions. It's going to affect our short-term and long-term memory. Remember, we mentioned that in stage 2, our thoughts get like filed away. In stage 3, our deep sleep, our long-term memory forms. If we're not able to get all the benefits of a good night's sleep, all our short-term and long-term memory are going to be affected because we're not reaching that rejuvenating sleep, that recovery and restoring sleep. We're not allowing that. That is why it's so important to reach stage 3. And in order to reach stage 3, which is the deep sleep, we need to go through stage 1 and 2. We cannot get to stage 3 unless we go to stage 1 and 2 successfully. And in order for us to do all that, it's important to create an optimal sleep environment. Another thing that's going to affect us is it's going to decrease our sex drive, because let's face it, who wants to be doing anything but sleeping when you are tired? You don't want anyone near you. At least I don't want anyone near me. Like, please leave me alone. I need my sleep. And we're going to have trouble learning new things. We're going to have trouble learning new things for the same reason that we mentioned about our memory. But it's not only the mood and being irritable and all that, it's also physical health can be affected. Heart disease, heart attacks, high blood pressure, increased risk of stroke, diabetes, weight gain. Our human growth hormone, which is also called the fitness hormone because it reduces the fat production and promotes fat utilization, and it also promotes protein production. So it's called a fitness hormone, but that is suppressed, which means it's going to affect, because remember, we mentioned that it does get released earlier, and if we're not sleep to help us repair all our muscles and our cells and all everything in our system, if we're not giving it enough time to do its thing, it's going to be suppressed and it's going to affect us. And that might be one of the reasons why, if we are trying to lose weight or gain muscle and we're struggling, that might be one of the reasons, because we're not sleeping well and not allowing all these wonderful things to really take place. And another thing that happens is when we are sleep deprived, cortisol levels rises and they remain elevated. And this, again, is going to inhibit your weight loss, and it's going to promote your very hard-earned muscles, because I bet you the patty works you out. It's not like, okay, piece of cake. I bet you she has you sweating and breaking those muscles. You know, you work hard for those muscles. You don't want them to just simply break down like that. And muscles do break down very easily. Yep. Another thing that will be affected is the balance of hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin and leptin are the hormones. Ghrelin is the hormone that tells us that we are hungry. Ghrelin, we are hungry. Ghrelin, go grab food, because it started with a G. And leptin, that we are full. If we're not getting enough sleep, all of our hormones are going to be out of whack, and it's definitely going to alter ghrelin and leptin, which is going to, again, lead us to probably want to snack. And let's go on to the next slide and circle back to that, because like I said, the lack of sleep is going to affect our cortisol levels. And I want to circle back to this, because when our cortisol level rises, a lot of things go on. Our appetite increases. Okay, cortisol level rises and our appetite is going to increase. When our appetite increases, our metabolism slows down. The metabolism is going to slow down because it's confused. Our metabolism is like, okay, wait a minute. You are up. you're supposed to be sleeping, you're supposed to be resting, you're supposed to be replenishing our body, and you're awake, we are going to run out of fuel. So it slows down to conserve fuel so we don't run out. So cortisol level rises, our appetite increases, our metabolism slows down. We got all these wacko things going on. When our metabolism slows down because it's confused, our friends, ghrelin and leptin, the hormones that tell us that we're full and that we're hungry, they're out of balance, because remember, they get altered when we don't sleep well. So now ghrelin is telling us that we are feeling more hunger. Appetite and hunger are not the same thing. Appetite is psychological desire to eat. Hunger is a physiological need to eat. Our body tells us we are hungry. So our cortisol level, again, is elevated. Our appetite has increased. Our metabolism has slowed down, and we are feeling more hunger. Again, not a great combination in the middle of the night, usually when it happens. But ghrelin is never alone. Leptin comes in, and now leptin is telling us that we're less full. Can we win? High cortisol level, increase appetite, slower metabolism, feeling more hunger and less full. We are going to want to go eat. That is the reason why most of the time when people wake up in the middle of the night, they need a snack. Simple. And that's definitely going to affect if we are trying to reach any weight loss or muscle producing goals. But it doesn't stop there, because when our cortisol level are elevated, our brain releases serotonin. Serotonin is the hormone that's the substance that's going to calm us down. And in order for it to release, in order for it to bring the cortisol down, we need to release that. Because cortisol is the hormone that tells us fight or flight. You got to do something about this. But then serotonin is going to come in to calm us down. All right. The fastest way, the easiest way for our body to release serotonin is by consuming foods high in fat and carbs. That's the real reason why we go in the middle of the night reaching for potato chips, donuts, the pie. Who's going to wake up in the middle of the night? Oh, I'm hungry. I really need a snack. I can't sleep, and go grab lettuce and tomato. Nope. That potatoes, that pie, that donut, that cake that we've been so good about saying no, it's looking absolutely delicious in the middle of the night, and we go for it. But that's why, because our body is wanting that kind of food, and that's why those foods are called comfort foods. It wants that in order for us to release the serotonin. So we definitely cannot win with that combination in the middle of the night. And you've got to see, that's why when people say, if you're not losing weight, oh, you might be stressed. And people are like, what, stress? What does that have to do with weight loss? I'm eating right. But your cortisol levels are elevated, and a lot of things are out of whack in your body. Another thing that happens when your cortisol level is elevated is a glucose is released. As a matter of fact, if you go get tested in the for blood in your sugar in the morning, your cortisol levels are elevated, you are going to come back with glucose, high glucose level, as if you ate a cookie, even if you are fasting. That's why a lot of time when you go get tested, then they do a repeat, just to play it safe. And it can be because of that. And remember, we touched earlier that lack of sleep can lead you to diabetes. But one interesting fact is that we have 2 tanks in our bodies of fuels. And I won't go too deep into that because that's really for another topic. But we have what I call 2 tanks in our body for fuel, for energy. One is sugar, glucose, and one is fat. The sugar one is the easiest to release, the easiest to access. So that's the one that our body is going to go for first. So in order for us to tap into our fat deposits for energy, our glucose tank needs to be empty. If there's any source of sugar in this tank, we're never going to reach our fat deposits for energy and therefore help with weight loss. So that there's always going to be glucose here if we are stressed and cortisol levels are high, and cortisol levels are elevated if we don't sleep. So we got to keep that in mind, especially if we are also trying to reach some fitness goals. Any questions on that? Okay, we'll move forward. Yay! I know it's a lot of information sometimes. So the bottom line is the amount and quality of sleep really have an impact on your body composition. And like I mentioned, that might be the reason why you are struggling to see results. But remember, one of the things is quality, not quantity. Because you might tell me, oh, I sleep 10 hours. Oh, I'm good. I sleep 10 hours. How are those 10 hours? Okay. Do you feel rested when you wake up? And that's something to pay close attention to. And yes, some people can get by with 6 hours of sleep or 5 and be okay. But again, you've got to pay attention. How are you performing the next day? I mean, one day it's okay, you didn't sleep well, or you were up partying or whatever, but you really got to pay attention to how you're feeling, how you're functioning. Are you forgetting things? Are you always fatigued? Pay attention to that. And if you are doing everything right, but you are finding yourself that you're not resting, that you're not well rested, then you might want to look into sleep apnea, which is something that is very common. And a lot of time we don't even realize that we do have it. And that's something that obviously you need to go get tested for, or if you have a sleep disorder called insomnia. We are just today talking about, and there are a lot of home tests nowadays. But obviously you'll need a medical doctor to prescribe it, but it's not as scary as before. But today we're just, we're not going into, because that's out of my scope. That's for medical doctors to actually look into that. But it's something to keep in mind. If you are doing everything right, or someone you know, and they snore a lot, or they wake up always fatigued, look into that, because a lot of people are going through that and not even realize that. Wear a little mask and feel a lot better. I'm going to give you some food for sleep, some things that we can take throughout the day. I'm not saying that these things are going to aid you in, like, you know, I take this and I'm going to go to sleep. No, but we can add these, some of these foods to our diet throughout the day or the weeks or whatever, and it might assist. Kiwis, tart cherries, they're very high in serotonin. Fatty fish, vitamin D, omega also is going to help us sustain the sleep a little better. Walnut, pistachios, all those. Evidently, herbal teas, chamomile, lavender, and valerian root, which is it's my favorite from the point of effectiveness, because it has the most study to back it up. But I love lavender. And I want to touch on lavender real quick, because it just crossed my mind before I forget. Lavender is very much known for its calming effect. And like I said, I love lavender. We use it for aromatherapies, lotions, teas, all sorts of things. But we want to be a little careful with this, because there's been studies that link lavender to certain forms of estrogen-driven cancers. So before we start taking lavender left and right, it's especially this group, I would consult with the doctor. It's not, obviously it's not set in stone that yes, but it's been linked to elevate estrogen level, and we want to be careful about that and just know a little more if that's true or not before we take. Actually, before we take any supplements, we should really consult with a doctor and make sure it doesn't affect any of the other medications that we take. We also want to avoid red meat before bed as much as possible, because red meat is very hard to digest. And so we want to avoid that. We want to avoid alcohol. And yes, you might want to, a little glass of wine to wind you down. It's okay. However, alcohol is going to make you sleepy, but it's going to disrupt your sleep cycle. Okay. So you want to keep an eye on that. And of course, we want to be very mindful of caffeine. And I know, Marcella, I mentioned that you might want to check out if you are taking a lot of caffeine the days that you are up. Caffeine comes in.
Only in the
Go ahead.
morning. I only have coffee in the morning.
Okay, but keep in mind that it might be in tea, if you take tea, it might be in soda, and it might also be in chocolate. So, and even some medications. So we want to be mindful. And like I said, pay attention. The days that you're not sleeping, well, the next day when you wake up, you're like, okay, I didn't have such a great night. Try to identify what kept you up or what did you do throughout the day. We want to be mindful of the timing of the caffeine and sugar consumption, because a lot of times we go out for dinner and just habitually order a cup of coffee at the end of dinner to wrap things up and just talk with our friends the last few minutes of the meal. So we want to be mindful of that. One of the things I recommend for people that really drink a lot of coffee or caffeine is coffee space out, which consists of you take your last cup of coffee of the day and you do half decaf and half caffeinated, and you have that for about 5 days to a week. Then you do the full last cup of the day be a decaf, and again do that for another 3, 4, 5 days. Then the one before that, half decaf, half caffeinated, and so on and so forth. So the idea is to replace half a cup of caffeinated coffee for half a cup of decaffeinated until you go to either all decaf like I did, or just to an amount that you are comfortable with. And before you know it, you'll be decaffeinated, but you still have the aroma, you still have the ritual, and you still have all the goodness. Replace that for a nice cup of tea or anything like that. And you want to avoid large meals before bed. Okay, so evidently we're like full. We're like, oh my God, I can't even move. We want to avoid that, not just because of the way we are feeling, but also because our digestive system, and it's the same reason why we want to avoid red meat, works very hard to digest our food. And it is designed to work better in an upright position, not a laying position. And also, we already have a lot of things going on in our bodies while we're sleeping. A lot of repairing going on. A lot of our brain is getting like a computer, like getting reset. I mean, we have a lot going on. So we don't want to take energy resources from all that's happening to repair while we sleep to then use that for digestion. So we want to be mindful of the time we have a meal before going to bed. Move on. So we want to create a top-notch routine before you go to bed. Stop eating 2 hours or so before bed. You want to stay hydrated. We mentioned that earlier, because we need hydration for all that to take place in our night, taking care of our body and to sleep well. But I want you to try to avoid naps. Okay, naps is a very touchy subject because you might say like, okay, well, I need my nap. Well, let's figure out why you need your nap. And of course, as we age and we sleep less at night, we are probably going to need a nap sometime throughout the day. Otherwise, we won't make it all the way to the evening. But also, our body releases a tiny amount of melatonin right about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's why most of the time, around that time, we all get that mid-afternoon, we feel so exhausted, so tired. So we want to avoid naps. How? Get up from your desk, take a walk, shake your body a little bit, go outside, get some sun, or stay occupied, stay active. But the moment you go out or by the window and just take 5-10 minutes of sun, it's going to shut that little bit of melatonin that is released in the middle of the day. If you are going to nap, it should be short naps, no more than 20 minutes, like a good power nap. I mean, I'm all in for a good power nap, but no more than 20 minutes. Because when you keep it longer, when you go into 35, 40 minutes, you are going to be going into that deep sleep that you are not going to be able to finish your cycle. And it's really not going to do anything for you, only disrupt your night sleep. Also, don't go to bed too early. You don't want to go to bed too early where you're turning and twisting. Not only that, our body is on a circadian rhythm that tells us when we wake up and when we go to sleep. If we go to sleep too early, we are disrupting that natural cycle because we are not ready. Our body is not ready to release the melatonin. You want to get up at a consistent time. You want to go to bed at a consistent time and get up at a consistent time. However, if I was to choose before one, please, by all means, get up at the same time every day, even on the weekends. Again, because of our natural rhythm, our circadian rhythm, which tells us when we wake up, when to go to sleep. The moment we wake up, our body shuts down all the melatonin production and everything that tells us it's time to sleep, and it will get released the next day. The next day within the amount of hours, 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever, that night when it's supposed to. When a body, because we all have a different rhythm. That's why some people are early birds, some people are night birds, and there's a lot in between called chronotypes that we're not going to address in this workshop. But we all have a time that our body is designed for when we go to sleep. That's why sometimes in the morning people are a little slower, like, oh, I haven't woken up yet. That's how we are. But if you get up at a consistent time, even on the weekends, it is going to make your going to bed a lot easier. That is the reason why Mondays are so hard, because in the weekends, we stay up later, we stay in bed longer. So we mess up that cycle that we have going on, that rhythm. And then Monday comes around and our body is like, I'm not ready to go to bed. So we wake up later because we've been doing that in the weekend, and then we are exhausted throughout the day. That's why it's so hard. And then because we're forced to wake up at a certain time for work or activity or whatever, then by the next few days, we're fine until we go again to the weekend and disrupt it again. Another thing you want to be careful about is the time. Avoid taking your medication right before bed. As long as your prescribing physician has not ordered you to take this BOHS, to take this by mouth at night before bed. If they didn't prescribe it like that, then avoid taking it at night, because a lot of medications, again, increase our heart rate and disrupt our sleep. If you're feeling that you're taking a new medication and all of a sudden you're not sleeping well, check with your doctor and see. And some medications like vitamin D and some medications are supposed to be taken in the morning anyway. An antidepressant usually brings up your all your heart rate, brings it's supposed to bring you up, your energy and everything. So you don't want that right before going to bed. Again, unless your doctor prescribe it that way, because it might contain also something that will aid you in sleep. I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but so you want to check that. But if you can avoid them, taking them right before going to sleep, you want to do that. Also, although I said that one of the things that help us go to sleep faster is exercising, you want to avoid exercising 4 to 3 hours before bed. The reason for this is because our body temperature needs to be at a certain, our body temperature needs to drop in order for us to release melatonin in order for us to go to sleep. If we exercise and not only our body temperature is up, our heart rate is up when we exercise, we also release all these adrenaline that is going to keep us up here excited. It's going to be a little bit harder to bring us down and get us ready for the bed. You want to get off your screens. Turn off your phones, get off your screen. And don't tell me I need my phone for the time. Get an analog clock. These little guys, they emit, the light that they emit, the blue light, does disrupt our melatonin. And I keep saying melatonin, but that's what really gets us, melatonin, serotonin is what gets us to sleep and where. So you want to avoid using your phone a good hour or at least half hour for that reason. The TV. Okay, if you must, I'm okay with TV. Some coaches are totally against TV. I look at it this way. The TV is farther away. Usually you're not sitting all the way up here in a TV, so you're not really receiving all that blue light so directly. And number one. And number two, if you're watching a good show, something that's not really engaging, or something that the information is just flowing over and it's just there for like company or whatever, by all means, if it's going to be something that's going to make you smile and laugh, go ahead, watch some TV if you can. I also like to entice you to do a power down hour. The power down hour, you divide it in 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I like 20 minutes, where you do the first 20 minutes, you finish writing that email, you finish putting the dishes away, you finish taking care of, sending the text, anything that you need to do, you take care of in those first 20 minutes. Then you have another 20 minutes for your hygiene and all that. And let me pause right here. Ladies, if you wear makeup, take your makeup off the moment you get in the house. Don't wait to when you're getting ready for bed to take it off. The reason for that is because we usually take our makeup off in front of our vanity, where we have all these a lot of light bulbs, and bringing all that energy, all that light into us, again, increasing and shutting off our melatonin production. So walk in the house, done for the day, take your makeup off. Take your makeup off, and then just do the rest of your stuff in your 20 minutes for hygiene. And the last 20 minutes in the power down hour is for you to do whatever you enjoy that is relaxing with you, with yourself. It can be journaling. It could be reading. It could be a little stroll. If you're going to go for a stroll, a walk, don't make it an exercise walk. Remember, you have to stop exercising unless you're doing like a yoga or a stretch a couple of hours before bed. But if you want to just go and moonbathe, then go ahead and do that in those last 20 minutes. But something for you to just relax and unwind and get ready for bed. When you create your environment for your room, think of the 5 senses. So you want to have the temperature, bring it down, needs to be nice and cool. You want to have a nice aroma, perhaps, soft music, want to that. Have some nice tea for your taste. For feel, the sheets, Get yourself sheets that you absolutely love, that it feels good for your body, pillowcases as well. So you want to create that environment that's inviting. You want to bring down the light. As a matter of fact, nowadays with all these technology, there's light bulbs that change different colors. You might feel a mood of having your room with nice soft blue light. Red lights actually promote the production of melatonin. So you might want that, or green, lavender, whatever, something that's inviting. Take a nice warm bath. And in case you have any children, really quick, just to touch on that, bath time for children is different than from adults, because bath time for toddlers usually turn into playtime in the tub, when they got all the toys coming in and a whole bunch of things going on, and it's going to excite them. So we want to be mindful of that. Bath time right before bed should not be playtime. Just a quick little touch on that. But for us, a bubble bath, relaxing, all that, and create that environment that is inviting to you. Make it a ritual. Your bed, this is where your body is going to finish the day. It's going to relax, it's going to recover, and it's going to rejuvenate for the next day. You deserve to have the best environment that you can create in your room to for that. And also meditate. Okay, you do want to meditate, and you might be like, I don't know how to meditate. Meditate is very simple. Meditating is simple. Just being with yourself, just a couple of breaths in and out, like we did, like the 4-7-8. Just think about your day. Just go ahead and have a talk with your inner self and simply wind down. Find the best way to work for you and make it happen, so you have that nice rejuvenating sleep. And one more thing about the senses is the mattress. Make sure you change your mattress. We tend to forget about the mattress. We keep it for years and years and years. Keep an eye on that they need to be changed every 5, 6, no, that's 5 too soon, every 6-7 years or so, most likely. Also, one more thing, the alignment of your body. Sleep on your back if you can, because it lets your digestion and everything work better. You less chances of acid reflux. You have less trigger points, and it's better on your back for your heart rate and everything. If you're going to choose a side and you can, then the left side would probably be better. I'm a right side sleeper, so do as I say, not as I sleep. Do as I say, not as I do. But on your left, because it's easier on your heart and all that. And the pillow, also the pillow. If you're on a back sleeper, it should be low. You need to think of your nose being aligned with your sternum, okay? Not hyperextension, not hyperextension. If you're on your side, then a little higher pillow. Any questions? We're done. It took a little longer. If you have any questions, because we have one exercise after this. It's going to be short, but I hope you all brought your mirrors. If you didn't, grab a mirror real quick. And if you don't have a mirror, then grab your phone and put it on camera, but a mirror will be better. I'll give you just like 30 seconds for that while we check to see if we have any questions.
I don't see no questions in the chat,
Okay.
but you could drop them now if you want.
Or just raise your hands.
Or raise your hand.
Yeah.
Make it quicker that way.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lot of information. Some things I didn't even know.
There's a lot of information, and I try to make it as thorough but as slow as possible.
But it's good information. I mean, it's a lot, but it's good.
One thing I just want to mention, I know I kind of went through the melatonin. Another big one that's been around a lot lately for sleep is magnesium. We want to also be careful on the magnesium, because it can be misused very easily, okay? And if you take too much, it can be hard on your stomach. Okay, magnesium is not something our body produces. We have to give it to it, and it gets stored in our bones. but it can be hard on your stomach. It can cause diarrhea, and diarrhea can lead to dehydration. So, which might disrupt your sleep and making you go to the bathroom and all that. So you want to be cautious with that. There are like 20 types of magnesium. So if you do want to start, again, look for a good quality one, but you want to start with glycinate, okay? You want to, and it's about generally 250 milligrams, but you're going to see like 500. You don't need that much. So, and what magnesium does is helps you relax. So if you can do that with just with the tea and all that, I mean, it does other things, but when it's used for helping us sleep, and if we have a deficiency, it's going to work and relax us and get us to sleep a lot easier. But if we don't, it's really not going to work. The thing is that I think 80% of the population has magnesium deficiency. So you start with just the glycinate, and then you can do like half and half glycinate and citrate. They're easier on your stomach. And also, you can always write to me. I'll have Patty, well, that's my email right there, coachsandra@gmail.com. If you have any questions, you can always write to me. Find me on Instagram and or through Patty, and I'll be more than happy to address any other questions or anything that might come up after we're done. So if no one has any questions, I'm going to take a quick stretch. I'm going to, you may turn off your camera. I'll go ahead and turn mine off too. And we're just going to do a quick little meditation. Let's, can we stop the recording, please? Morgan. I don't know if I can stop it on my own here. I think I could stop the share.